the link between nutrition and health, what our consumer panel has to say about their coffee, and how your friends affect or not your weight. For August 17, 2011, this is Food News Today. Good morning. Today's broadcast is pre-recorded. Please feel free to email me any thoughts, comments, or questions that you may have. Phil@supermarketguru.com. Food News Today is sponsored by ConAgra Foods, who shares with me the desire to provide the most current, interesting, and unbiased food news. In today's Health and Wellness Report, we take a look at the Cancer Project. Nutrition and health are intimately linked with rising obesity and chronic disease rates, as well as healthcare bills. We as a country need to rethink our diets and preventative measures to improve health, and that's exactly what the Cancer Project is trying to do. They're working to educate Americans about foods that can both prevent and help get through cancer treatment. Today we have Joseph Gonzalez, registered dietitian, who's on staff for the Cancer Project, to share with us just a few of the Cancer Project's efforts. So tell me, what are the Cancer Project's main objectives?
Some of our main objectives is simply to just get the word out there about nutrition and its relationship with cancer prevention. And that's really our main goal, is to show that plant foods for food groups like whole grains, beans, fruits and vegetables are very healthy foods, very high in nutrient density compared to caloric density. And when we fill up on these foods, they have so much fiber, antioxidants, it really helps to help lessen the risk of developing cancers, especially the ones that are known to be related to diet in the first place.
Now, I know you've started offering classes about cancer through the Cancer Project around the country. Tell me a little bit more about those classes.
Yeah, the classes are great. They're a perfect opportunity for not only to explain about the research and the information, the education about the nutrition and the link to cancer, but we show them how to do it. And we do that by 3 recipes. Really easy to make, very inexpensive. We have trained instructors, so it's not like you're going to get up there and the food's going to taste bad. It's really delightful, delicious food. The instructors get up there, they make a great recipe, they talk about the relationship between diet and cancer, and everybody has a great meal. Attendees come, they pay a small fee, and it's just a really good educational tool that we have. And we're in about over 100 cities across the country, and we're now reaching out to other countries as well. We're in the UK. We're also in India and Panama and Canada.
Now, I know part of the program promotes a nutrition rainbow. Share with us some of the foods on the rainbow and why they're so important.
Well, great question. The foods in the rainbow, we really try to emphasize the brightest colored fruits and vegetables. And the reason for that being is because, foods that are red have antioxidants like lycopene, or foods that are orange, very simplistic, but have beta-carotene. So when we talk about the foods that have a lot of green color, we're thinking of folate and all the different things that folate and fiber can do as far as removing toxins from the body, removing excess estrogens and testosterone or hormones from the body. And so we really focus on brightly colored whole fruits and vegetables. Whole grains even have a lot of antioxidants. Red beans even have a lot of antioxidants. So that's really where we want families, friends, and everybody we know to try to focus on these foods.
And what are some common healthy and easy substitutions for foods that we eat every day that might not be the best for our health?
Right. We call them transitional foods. And the reason for that is they might not be the quote-unquote healthiest, but they are very healthy in regards of being low in fat, 0 cholesterol, high in protein, and low in calories. And those foods would be like, you take a hot dog that many Americans love to eat, or you use a tofu pup, or like a soy-based hot dog. Same thing with veggie burgers. So it's really easy if you are a burger or hot dog kind of guy or a sandwich kind of guy. You can get the plant-based deli meats. There's a company called Field Roast Sausages. They just make an amazing apple sage sausage that tastes very similar, if not identical, to a nice Italian sausage. So those are the kind of transitional foods that we could let people become aware of. But ideally, when we're thinking of legumes and protein and whole grains, a whole foods type of diet is a much better way to go than these processed products that I'm sure you're aware of.
Thanks, Joseph. Important work, and we're glad that you are leading the way. Our Supermarket Guru Consumer Panel weighs in on the price of coffee and just how that's affecting their consumption. Along with almost all food commodities, coffee prices have seen a huge price increase, up nearly 15% from a year ago. We wanted to know just how consumers' coffee drinking habits might have changed. The plurality of the panel consumes 2 cups a day, followed by those who have 3. And those who have 4 are right behind that group. Now, a whopping 15% have 5 or more cups, and only 11% have 1 cup of coffee. Now, I won't divulge my daily consumption. Saving money is definitely on the minds of most shoppers, especially as we watch the wild ride on Wall Street. But the majority, 3/4 of our panel, are still drinking as much coffee now as they were before the price hike. And Cup of Joe drinkers just don't want to give it up. 48% say they will not cut back despite rising prices. 1 out of 5 say they will cut back when prices rise 11 to 20%. About the same say that they'll cut back when prices rise 21% or more. 15% say they'll cut back if they rise 10% or less. On our Facebook fan page, Supermarket Guru, we asked how coffee consumption habits have changed. Bud Danberg says, "I've changed my consumption habits, less K-cups, and using the old school Mr. Coffee machine again. It's hard to justify the cost of those K-cups. Also, replacing coffee with soda and water, but keeping away from those water bottles." While Cooking Channel said, "Not a chance." And Mel Labraro said, "The only difference we've made is what we do with the extra coffee. Instead of pouring it down the drain, we chill it to make a flavored coffee for an afternoon dessert." Since supermarkets already win most of consumers' coffee purchases, with 39% saying they've always purchased their coffee in the supermarket, 27% say that they're heading to the supermarket to find the best deal on the coffee, there might not be much more that supermarkets can do. But when consumers were asked, what could they do? Well, 67% said, put more on sale. 35% said, give us some more samples. 24% said a greater variety of packaged coffees, and 22% said more promotions with companion items. Talk about strong coffee sales. In Consumer Trends, we take note of a new report on just how and if friends can affect your weight. A series of highly publicized studies concluded that habits such as overeating can spread like viruses through circles of friends, which led to the question of 2 researchers to ask, could it be possible to curb a behavior like obesity by focusing on small groups of people who would then influence their networks? Well, the conclusions by Dr. Nicholas Christakis, a social scientist at Harvard, and James Fowler, a social scientist at the University of California at San Diego, has drawn heated criticism from other scientists and statisticians that claim that the study's methodology was flawed and that the original data was inadequate to estimate the role that might play in the spread of these behaviors. The first paper was published in 2007 in the New England Journal of Medicine. In it, Dr. Christakis and Dr. Fowler used data from over 12,000 subjects in the long-running federal Framingham Heart Study. The data includes 32 years of medical records, including such routine data as body weight and smoking habits. Framingham researchers also knew who among the subjects were friends. To be sure that they did not lose participants, the researchers had asked subjects to name someone who would know how to reach them at the time of the next exam. Both doctors found that friends and friends of friends had similar levels of obesity, but neighbors did not. They also proposed a few possible explanations. One was homophilia, the tendency to choose friends like oneself. The second was that people are affected in the same ways by the environments that they create and share with their friends. The third explanation, the one that garnered much attention, was contagion. They theorized that a person's idea of an acceptable weight or an acceptable portion size, for example, changes when one sees just how big his friends are or how much they eat. Those who dispute the findings say that it's hard to account for all confounding variables in observational studies. For some, the original findings seem to make sense. What do you think? Please email me your thoughts at phil@supermarketguru.com, and we'll start off next week's broadcast by sharing your thoughts and your views. For Food News Today, I'm Phil Limpert. Thanks for joining us. If you have a colleague in retailing, the media, or a blogger who would also like to receive our advanced email, I hope you'll ask them to go to foodnewstoday.com to sign up. Next week's stories will be in your Tuesday email.